चलो स्टार्ट करें। बताइए आज का क्या है।
आज का क्या है? हम लोग आज बात कर रहे हैं अबाउट रीजनल स्टीरियोटाइपिंग. This involves basically things like सरदार जी थोड़ा संटा बंटा जोक सुना दो.
मैं क्या मोमो चटनी कैसा है? What can you say about Rahul?
ओए थेपला.
My nana brought me up with Santa Banta jokes.
Yeah, so you and your nana part of the big problem. ऐसा बोलना नहीं चाहिए बट ठीक है। नानू को आज
But parents are gonna hear it. I am just like बाप रे बाप, अब तुम क्या बोल लिया?
ये पॉडकास्ट का कंटेंट हम तो कितना रेगुलेट करें just because Rahul's parents are hearing it. Actually इतना किया नहीं अभी तक, but
हाँ किया तो है नहीं, no ऐसे बात कर रहे
अरे
हैं.
but
You know, I told my mom that I had a whole parents episode, and she's just like, I don't want to listen to it. You only said bad things about me. सुननी भी नहीं है. She's already assumed that I said bad things about her.
एक्सपेक्टेशन ही है.
कोई वांदा नहीं।
बोले
हाँ यही है। कंप्लेन करता था, किच करता रहता है सिर्फ, और क्या। बट
किच-किच?
ठीक है। राहुल के लिए थेपला, ढोकला, गोरा, अमीर ये सब ही है। जॉयजीव और मेरे लिए थोड़ा ज्यादा सेंसिटिव हो सकता है।
हाँ,
एंड
dude.
गाइस, letting you all know in advance, the two of you and the listeners, there could be a point of time I become very bhavuk, very emotional. Bear with me because this is a topic which is very close to my heart. And let you all know this is something for which I will one day, it's in my mind to bring a change for what we'll be talking about today. I have a few things in my mind I will be doing, which starts from writing a book about this.
Memoirs.
बहुत time है सबको.
In that day and generation, nobody's going to read books. That is why we have podcasts now.
बोला
तो ठीक है, उसका ऑडियो बाइबल, ऑडियो सुनो नाम का कुछ होता है ना, नया। ठीक है, भावना पहुंचा ना तेरे को,
ऑडियो बुक
बात की भावना पहुंची।
हाँ.
अरे हम लिखेगा, कोई और बनाएगा, भावना पहुंची बस।
हाँ. तू गाना गाएगा क्या बीच में, पॉडकास्ट के बीच में?
गाना क्यों गाएगा भाई?
आउट ऑफ लाइक दर्द भरा गाना।
नहीं वो नहीं करेगा, सिर्फ कहानी सुनाएगा।
ठीक है गाइस, चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद 6 minutes 7 minutes ऑफ बकचोदी we've done. इसमें से काट कूट के हम इंट्रो बना लेगा.
इंट्रो तो
इंट्रो म्यूजिक आ गया. चलो उसके बाद इसमें स्टार्ट
Who's the host today? No, but who's the host today? Joyjeev, you be the host today. Sensitive
He is the host today.
हाँ ऐसे होस्ट नहीं जनरली बात करते हैं अबाउट बेसिकली यही टॉपिक यही है. काफी टाइम हम लोग फ्रेंड्स के साथ बकचोदी करते हैं या बात करते हैं अबाउट ऑल दीज थिंग्स, फ्रॉम वेयर दे कम फ्रॉम, एंड इन अ वर्ल्ड दैट राइट नाउ इज सो पोलराइज्ड and also so politically correct at times, we need to know where is the line or if there is a line at all. So Ishmeet, what are your experiences with these kind of instances?
Stereotypes. So there are a lot of experiences, and two of you also, they directly come on the two of you also because you've been a part of the problem. So
you guys made a group about me. I don't think anything is worse than that.
No stereotyping नहीं था, वो अलग प्रॉब्लम है.
वो अलग प्रॉब्लम था जब राहुल को प्यार हो गया था पहली बार. Anyway, on a more serious note, so I think stereotypes with regards to religion, faith, culture, background is something on which personally I have faced shit tons of jokes, whether it's in India, whether it's in my own friend circle, even when I went for a 15-day trip to Dublin, to which Georgie wasn't there.
Side note मतलब देना ही पड़ता है.
So like I was saying, so there have been lots of instances where I've faced a lot of flack, and there are lots of stories. Like there was a point of time I feared going to school. There was a point of time I was scared. I didn't know. I used to come back home and think, what do I tell my mom and dad? And very recently during the lockdown, I actually opened up to them about the lot of shit and the lot of stress I used to face in my mind just to go to school or to college or to do anything, because there just used to be people mocking. And yes, this is true. And mocking, not even mocking, just thinking कि यार Ishmeet तो है, इतनी छोटी सी बात है, बोल के क्या हो गया, just a joke. But the point is that just a joke is actually, it doesn't stay there. it accumulates and it really pains. So I'll start with my stories. Like, I mean, if that's, I'll not all, because it's gonna, this podcast is never gonna end because there's so much of content here. But I would also like to hear what you guys think before we actually get into the story bit of it. Like Joyjeev, Rahul, tell me about your overview of experiences, and then we'll come on the stories.
Before we get to that, I just wanted to ask Joyjeev on this. I understand you've gone through a lot yourself. But तेको कभी ऐसा लगा क्या उसके बारे में?
क्या कि मतलब इश्मीत ऑफेंड हो गया?
हाँ कि इतना डीप कि he'd be so scared to go to school. कभी ऐसा लगा क्या?
नहीं मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगा, पर मतलब people how they face personal problems are little different than what they give out. No, plus he's a macho man.
I don't know.
बाइसेप दिखा रहा है, idiot.
तब तो छोटू सा नन्नू सा without puberty hitting whatever.
वही तो problem. So उस समय when there was anyway no maturity, I did not know how to handle it, and I was too scared to open up to my parents because they would have thought कि मतलब ये, but I didn't know, मतलब I'm sure they had told me hundreds of times, मेरे से बात कर, there's anything, but I did not know how to talk to them because some of the people involved, I wouldn't say involved, it sounds like a very murder conspiracy kind of a thing, but the people who were doing it were also some of my close friends, right? And they used to come home, my parents knew them by name. I did not want to tarnish their image as well.
Like हम लोग को ऐसा लगता था कि मतलब हम जब बात कर रहे हैं तो we are that close as friends, especially like our particular group who are like 3-4 people, 5-6 people who are like
God, you guys suck it.
we are that close that we can make that amount of jokes, and nothing is really that, but some things really are like they cross the line, and since you're that close you know what crosses the line and what doesn't cross the line. But with some people who are like, they are right now people who, for the sake of conversation and for sake of ice breaking, they use these things to break the ice, and that's where the problem thora is. I think with us, no matter what you all say right now, I'm thora immune to it, so I don't really get affected. But with regard
You're
to
insensitive fact of life.
That's pura separate topic. But something or someone uses as an icebreaker, and someone uses कि हमें ऐसे बोल सकता है, and that person will just laugh it off and take it not that seriously, because the larger consequences of it are, he doesn't realize it immediately, but it really takes a toll on me.
Furthermore, I don't think people realize, like you said, no, like it's an icebreaker, and people don't realize that it's not their right. Like people feel bad because of it, because they think that who is this person to make fun of me, but like that person's also just saying it in jest, just to be a part of something. But they just don't realize the impact of it,
the consequences of it. Like I'll tell you, I think I can start with the first incident. So this happened in Dublin. So just to give the listeners a context, so while in Xavier's our school, for class 10 students, 9 and 10 students, there used to be an exchange program to Dublin, a particular school. So there 15 of us from India go, and we stay in 15 Irish people's house who also are students of that particular school called Belvedere College, right, Rahul? The school's name was Belvedere College, right? So now, guys, I was expecting कि वहाँ जा, this is the first time I went on a foreign trip. First time I actually went on a flight as well, and I knew कि कुछ तो होगा. So my dad had said, if anything happens, just keep quiet. You're in a foreign land. Don't have to go all out with them. Stay with your friends. Stick with your Indian mates if anything of this happens. So with that thing, I went to the trip. Now, 2 days into it. I don't know, Rahul, if you remember this or not, 2 or 3 days into it, one of my Indian brothers, like one of my school mates from Calcutta itself, cracked a joke. All right, I can tell you guys what the joke was also. Now in hindsight, I'm like, itna kharab sense of humor tha. But anyway, he cracked a joke. So this was just for 2-3 people. And then I was like, bro, ये क्या कर रहे हैं? नहीं bro, just कुछ बात नहीं, तो mind मत करना. I was like, ठीक है.
बोल
So again, I'll tell you जब बताया 7 days के बाद, when we used to have these journaling sessions, all right, after our work was done. So that day it was a little late, so we were waiting in their school for an hour, and all these Irish kids were playing rugby in the school compound itself. तो सब लोग थे, मतलब वो बेलवेडियर कॉलेज के जो आफ्टर स्कूल बच्चे होते हैं ना, जो खेलते रहते हैं, हमारे 15 इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स और हमारे 15 आयरिश ब्रदर्स भी थे. They were playing rugby. So this guy, I'm not going to name him because I'm sure he'll be listening to this podcast. So he cracked a joke. He asked them, what do you guys call that rugby ball? All of a sudden, what do you guys call that rugby ball? I don't even know what it's called. Somebody said Ishmeet has that on his head. And this was the time I used to put my jhuda or my top knot on top itself, right? And then, guys, I'll just tell. I'm really getting goosebumps right now. Only I saw 20 random Irish people looking at my face and appearance and laughing. I saw the 15 Irish brothers, about except for my guy, like Jack, except for him, the others were laughing, and some of the Indian brothers were laughing as well. Not Rahul, I knew he was at the back. He came to me later and I was like, "Bro, are you okay?" And that incident where 30 random people are just looking at your appearance and laughing, till now, till date, on certain days, I get PTSDs. Like, not that extent, I just get very nervous. I just get scared. I get emotional, like very emotional. And then the I couldn't cry because I didn't want to appear weak. Men can't cry, men mard nahi hai, to all this shit used to go in my mind. At the same time, I didn't want to create a ruckus because this is my own guy, yaar. मैं क्या करूँ अब मैं क्या बोलूँ so he came up to me later and he said and he just gave me a like bro मजाक कर रहा था I'm like देख भाई अभी कुछ मत बोल अभी कुछ मत बोल मेरे को छोड़ दे that's all I told him and then we had a journaling session the next day and I remember while talking I broke down in the journaling session just started crying and then the teachers who were there they called up the guy they told him that there was a lot of things he said how dare you do all that this then he really apologized the point is that stuck with me and that is one of the reasons why I don't have the balls I don't have the guts to settle abroad
In a journaling session, how do you like have the courage to like even bring it up? ऐसा मेरे साथ भी हुआ like when I was embarrassed.
It used to be a one-on-one. So you write and then you speak with the teacher one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
So you're just telling the teacher about your day, basically.
Yeah, a bit of it was overall. I remember like used to talk about the entire thing and then a personal experience if you can share it with the teachers. तो जब वो पूरी क्लास को ही मैं बोला था ना हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को तभी मैं I remember I took out 2 or 3 words and then I just started crying. I could not stop. बह रहा था मैं एकदम. And then the two teachers they really got because I think they also told the guy, "Ki do this again. We will send you back." There was a whole lot of things which were going on. But the point is, when later on a date when I spoke to him, he's like he was doing it for the laughs. Like you guys said, he wanted to appear as that funny guy in the group. And now that I think of it, ठीक है उसको भी करना था. But the point is, what he said has a consequence to me even I think 6 years down the line, and it's gonna be there with me. I'm scared, like I said, to actually go outside in a place and settle out there because it's just fear. कि मैं मान लो कोई neighborhood में हूँ कोई उल्लू का पट्टा आके मेरे को कुछ बोल के चला गया मैं अगर handle कर लूंगा but if I have a family of my own if my parents may be outside what kind of shit will they go through it's very scary guys so that's one of the reasons why I really want to be vocal about this and I'm glad we're doing this podcast so this is like one of the first ways in which I'm being vocal about it
क्या बात good more power to you Ishmeet Singh Batra तो हम ये पूछना चाहता था कि मतलब beginning में when you were like a kid a young Punjabi boy a young Sikh boy so over there where you had a turban and where you had that time you didn't have facial hair but you had kara or certain other differences
Took a while.
Yeah. So in that respect, how did you like deal with it? How did you deal with as a kid? I'm saying, how did you deal with the fact that you need to maintain a turban? How did your family teach it to you? One, and also how when let's say you stood out in your friend circle, how did you?
And to add to that, do you feel that when you're young and when we're also innocent, that it makes such a big difference? Does it have as much of an impact as later on, like when you're especially in your impressionable age? The impressionable age
100% so I'll tell you how it works so firstly with regards to what my parents told me so like the typical a turban is a pride you're standing out in front of thousands and lakhs of people treat it with respect treat it with respect people look at Sikhs and they trust them they look up to them for help and you are a part of that brigade you need to live up to that and this is something when I spoke to other fellow Sikh friends of mine also when I grew up they all had been told the same thing. Now, guys, personally, I'm not a religious person at all. But one of the reasons why I maintained it diligently, it's big primarily because I was aware of my position in society and in the family as well. And then whenever all these things used to happen, my parents they told me that my dad told me he had faced a lot of incidents. Told me that this will happen, people will say, but you just got to be strong. Coming to the point where Rahul, you said about how does it affect, and this is what my parents used to feed into me. Now, with regards to the others, when it's an impressionable age, what happens is when your own friends are talking about it and it becomes in the everyday lingo, it comes. So the one word, why I used to get so frustrated with panya, even though it's not demeaning, I just used to not like, I just found the word very derogatory. And I think there have been umpteen times I've told you guys, don't call me that. Stick to Paji. I used to like Paji. But Panya, every time that word used to come, I used to get.
What does Panya even mean?
I don't know, but it just sounds very derogatory to me, very demeaning. And I remember I told you guys lots of times, don't call it. And then both of you and everybody was like, "Bhai, हम लोग ही तो बोल रहे हैं Panya." You guys remember? This is when I said I'm going to put you guys on the spot as well. And I did not want to tell them कि guys मेरे को बहुत खराब लग रहा है, I'm feeling horrible. Do not, because I did not want to open up that way in front of you guys as well. I don't know, now I can, but then I wasn't being able to. So when that happens, you start thinking ki, all right, this is just every day, this is what people will do. People are born assholes. They will not listen to you. They will, even if they might be your closest of friends, they think it's funny, they're going to keep doing it. And if that mindset sets into your mind at that early age, when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, like those, that age itself, it is risky. You are already seeing the world as a bunch of assholes who are not going to listen to you, who do not care if you're feeling hurt or not. And that is risky. That is very bad. From the other perspective, not from a victim perspective, if somebody is told कि it's okay to crack such jokes, मैं मान गया, मैं ठीक है, मतलब somehow I managed, I did not create a ruckus. There might be, I know people, I know fellow Sardar friends of mine who've contemplated chopping their hair off completely because of the intensity of jokes they used to face. Some of them had gone through severe mental fuck ups. Some of them have also contemplated suicide. I've read blogs on this when I was doing my research. Am I the only one who thinks this way? No. So the sheer number of people, the sheer number of kids, it's a lot. It just plays very badly on the mind. My one cousin, yeah, like somebody I know very personally, was contemplating for a very long time of chopping his hair off. He's a kid, so he's just growing, and it's for him. He got a little bit of a beard, and people were like, "Kya hai teri daadi?" So we're not allowed to trim or do anything with the beards, right? Ek to meri aayi nahi, college second year tak. So he's getting it at a young age, and he's feeling very. He's like, मैं क्या करूँ? मेरे को बहुत अजीब लग रहा है. Can I trim him? No, don't do it. Let people talk. And it's very difficult for me to contain because people are talking about it. His friends are possibly cracking jokes about it. He's not opening up to me, but I know I've seen it firsthand what happened to me happening to him, and I really want to help him out, but it's the same. I've tried having conversations with him, but it's been so normalized. You just put on a movie, you see a Sardar, and you're going to be cracking jokes. Like they will be taken lightly. Joke है, मतलब chill करो, उनको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Guys, the problem is फर्क बहुत पड़ता है. And in today's day and age where mental health is so important, you guys need to realize, everybody, not you guys, by you guys I mean everybody, needs to realize कि कितना effect पड़ता है. Anyway, I've been going on for too long. We'll come to more of me later on because again I have hundreds of stories which explain different, what I feel, different ways in which people think about all these things. But we'll come to that gradually.
What do you think of how Ishmeet handled the situation, Joyjeev?
I think Ishmeet is a sort of, I think, different sort of a character. He's not the typical Punjabi person who, again, wow, that's a stereotype.
Again, okay, yeah, it's very stereotypical here. Not caught there.
In general, I'm saying as a person, he's, I don't know, because of the way we've interacted and we have interactions amongst ourselves, is that when you crack a joke with him, his, I think, sense of taking it is much more than any other normal person. Like you can crack any sort of joke with him and he still takes it. Like it could be anything about his ridiculous relationship status at that time, or his food, or whatever, or it could be his attire, particularly the color of the shirt he decided to wear, horrible fashion sense. So
God, he thinks he looks so good.
Yeah, see all these things. See, we crack a particular joke on these things, knowing that it's Ishmeet and you can crack these jokes, because in my eyes, like Ishmeet, not particularly, I'm saying sick people in general. I'm saying Ishmeet particularly is one person who we've always joked about these things, and he takes it in that spirit. And
that's what I thought. Growing up, at least, that's what I thought as well. अब पता चल रहा है effect क्या हुआ है.
हाँ
So
मतलब
here the
obviously affect
difference in
करेगा.
cracking jokes about attire and all is fine. वो तो मेरे को पता है कि अगर फ्रेंडशिप में बैंटर नहीं रहेगा तो क्या रहेगा. इस पॉइंट के बारे में
हाँ
इसके
हाँ
बारे में ही बात कर
तो
रहा है.
यही तभी आ जाता है ना. तो इवन क्लोज फ्रेंड्स के पास भी थोड़ा बाउंड्रीज जरूरी है कभी ना कभी. और मतलब क्लियरली लाइक आई डोंट माय इन माय इफ आई हैव टू गिव एडवाइस टू यंग पीपल लिसनिंग टू दिस, आई वुड से दैट you should talk freely and openly with your friends and ask them what affects you or what doesn't affect you, and how when someone says no, no means no. Even that way, when it's a little hypocritical for me to say such things after Ishmeet has leveled such accusations against me. But I think,
what.
but I think the advice that I would give young Joyjeev is that, hear something out, keep your eyes and ears open. When someone says it's a problem, then that's a problem, right? Ishmeet, what would you have to say to our young listeners or for anyone?
Same what you said, like more than appearing like the person जिसे तो मजाक कर, just appear that you're there, like appearance and just be there कि हाँ bro I'm तेरे को कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है कि तू बार बार हम लोग को मना कर रहा है, क्या हुआ मेरे को बता. Rahul, what do you think about this? Because from my perspective, you're somebody who's not faced this too much, like compared to Joyjeev and myself, possibly. Like we'll come to Joyjeev also later.
See, for me, like you said, if you say that I've not faced it, yes, I've not faced it when it comes to, where I come from, what it is, because when you talk about Gujarati, theek hai, thepla, fafda, vagera is okay. It's not such a big deal, right? My job was bringing tiffin to school so you guys could eat. At the end of the day, thanks to my mother, you guys were fed in school, and thanks to your parents, I was fed in school. So, but the point being that, like for me, it was like being thin. Being thin was such a big thing, and like people keep talking about it, and like it affects you at some point, and that affected me more than anything else. But like I never thought of it that way. Like I obviously knew you were affected 100%. That was like, I remember going to Dublin, same thing. We were on the bus, 3-4 of us. This one drunk guy came like to the top tier of the bus. He threw a bottle and he's like, "You fucking
Get out
idiot!
of my fucking country."
Go back, go back to your own freaking country." And I was just like, what the hell, yeah? I didn't take it too hard because I knew the guy was not in his senses, but I also knew that things like this happen, and it's a recurring theme. But I didn't know it was to this extent, and yeah.
तेरी बात पे तेरा like when give us a description, like give us the listener a small nugget first about what your appearance was, and then tell us how it affected you and what you had to
What
do.
my appearance was, what my appearance is, and what my appearance will be is the same. I am a 55, 50, almost 60 kilo, very thin, lanky fellow who's like 6'1". So you can very well imagine how thin I can be. Today, somebody compared me to like a spear. I was just like, what, yeah.
Javelin throw.
I swear. Javelin, that was also one of the things through school. So like I've been through that. Being thin was more of a struggle than anything else until I came to accept.
Body shaming.
Yes, which you have also been a very big part of. Yeah. For Joyjeev, I feel body shaming played a bigger part than his Bengali or Assami thing. In like from what I have seen in my personal opinion.
The reason I did half the things that I did was because of body shaming, I guess, as a kid. So I will keep body shaming for another day.
I तो think it's the same thing. Stereotype तो होता ही है उसमें. तुम पतला है तुम ये करेगा, तुम ये है तो सब जगह फिट हो जाएगा. लाइक भाई हम विलिंगली पतला नहीं है. कोई रियलाइज किया है? Like if it was a perfect world, everybody would be fit.
हाँ वो है, पर this thing when how Ishmeet says that later on he went back home, it had an effect on his mental health, he couldn't come to school, didn't want to come to school. That regard तेरा पतला होने से ऐसा कुछ type reaction था तेरा?
पतला होने से नहीं, but there was this one phase in class 8 when like in class 8 or D or whatever, people used to like, I was with the wrong people first of all. I was not around you guys, unfortunately. And at that point of time, with puberty, adolescence, not knowing what the hell is happening, a lot of fun made up of random things. And at some point, I was just like, screw it. And my thing is, okay, I've had my fair share of going to my mom and crying about something or the other because I was a very sensitive, emotional kid. And then my mom was just like, okay, like, again, my mom little bit stereotypical, like, okay, you're a guy, you can't cry so much, वगैरह वगैरह.
आंटी फिर गाली देगी तेरे को, बहुत मजा आएगा.
वो तो मेरे को देगी regardless देगी, but I'm telling you, she made me stronger for the better. She's the only reason, like, today, no matter what happens, I'm just like, I'll take it in my stride, and I'm like, screw it, I really don't
compensate.
Exactly, like, genuinely, some things do affect me, but right now at where I am in my life, I know what my priorities are, which I did not know as a kid. जब बच्चा था तब गर्लफ्रेंड या किसी के साथ कुछ होता था तो like मेरा पूरा वीक बर्बाद, you know. अब कुछ हो जाए तो it's like it's okay, not a big deal.
ये राहुल, तेरा तो ये वाला इश्यूज होंगे जैसे गुजराती लोग को बोलते हैं कि बहुत बिजनेस माइंडेड है.
In regards to being Gujarati, like, I don't think I faced much. Like, my dad is a businessman, and you're considered a businessman. I didn't really feel like, you know, stereotypical, yes, but again, it didn't affect me negatively
that much.
जैसे नवरात्रि में डांडिया खेलना, फिर तुम लोग तो खाली डांडिया खेलते हैं, गरबा हमेशा, any moment you always start with गरबा.
You know what? No, वो मस्ती. I mean, that I've taken, but like I've never felt badly towards it. You know? I've never taken it negatively.
So Rahul, tell me one thing: being in the US, being in Indian, being brown fellow in the States, have you? I think you've been there अभी 4-5 साल हो गया होगा तेरे को, तू तो कब से गया?
Little over 4 years, yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever faced a case of racial profiling, stereotypical, like you're an Indian, you fucking suck, fucking snake charmers, and all that shit? Because in 15 days in Dublin, I heard that also.
See now we're going into Indian stereotypes, which is very much there. People still believe like there are elephants going around left, right, and center on our roads, which is not true. But no, personally, I've not faced anything like that because everybody here has been really nice to me, really accepting of who we are and where we come from. My only problem is, you know, why people over here have an impression of Indians, like what impression and why they have such an impression. Because there are people from India who come who are very uncultured, who know absolutely nothing. Like they're there to just party or whatever the hell they are to do, and they're loud and obnoxious and rude. And I'm just like, hello, you are in somebody else's country. Can you please at least be a little cultural? Let's not be obnoxious. And let's at least treat other people in the right way. You can't go to a restaurant, 8 of you, and start like, there was this incident, okay, where there were like 10 people who went to a restaurant and they're just like fucking around. They're like drinking, they're loud. I'm just like, dude, there are 50 other people there.
Or can you imagine the drinking? They were loud and
there's a whole beach ball they have, and they're throwing around the beach ball in the middle of the bloody restaurant. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? You know, you can, I don't know. Like, these are people in college, but it was just really funny. After that, half the group got coronavirus.
Anyway, Joyjeev, now your turn. So we've understood Rahul Kai hasn't faced that much. Just whatever he has faced, he's been able, it's not been very offending towards him. So that is thankful. I'm thankful for it. It's been good. Joyjeev, what about you? Because I'm sure at some level, even you've faced a lot of it. मेरे को याद नहीं मैंने कभी ऐसा किया कि नहीं. I don't think I have, because I understood the pain of being in the spot. But have you ever faced, and what has been your reaction? And have you been as hurt to that intensity, like say in this case between the three of us? I was
more hurt by those body shaming wala incidents where I was called fat and all that. With regard to this thing, I face the constant. I'm Assamese, okay, so I come from the northeast, but I've grown up mostly to large part in Calcutta. So if you all know, like Assam and Bengal have a very close cultural background, where at once even Assam was a part of Bengal. So for one,
I didn't know that.
Okay, so now you do. This podcast is educational.
Fun fact.
Yeah. So that's why, because of this thing, I used to say I'm from the northeast, right? And I took pride. My parents made me take pride in the fact that I'm from the northeast. But because I spent very less time in the northeast, I didn't know what actual northeast instincts that I had. So I had problems identifying with a particular culture. Like when you say you're Sikh, so you know immediately the background that you come from and what your identity is. But I was in a way confused as to where do I exactly come from, what should I stand for, who are my people, that अपने लोगों के लिए I should fight for, वैसा कुछ. तो do I fight for Bengalis or do I fight what is my own? So in that respect, the common jokes that I used to face was कि चलो your Assam से है तुम, तो मतलब you're close, मतलब Chinese jokes start, चाउमीन you have, मोमो टिफिन में क्या है, मोमो है क्या, मोमो. So all this used to happen, and all this used to happen to a large extent with even general people and even close friends also. So this did have a impact on me in the fact that I couldn't identify with a particular culture and exactly tell them ki, no bro, that's not what Northeast culture is. We are not Chinese, we are here. This is Assam, one of the 7 sister states, which is completely different from China, which is another fucking country. Please go to geography classes 1. Next, get updated with your cultural general knowledge as well. And therefore, when I used to see fellow Northeastern people also, like people who I have a few cousins who used to study in Assam Valley School and other schools in Assam and stuff like that. Or we used to have colleges from Northeast come and play football, and they were like kick-ass football teams. Now, obviously, अपना कोच का मेंटालिटी था कि ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट से तो बढ़िया खेलता है, ये नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न है तो ये जाएगा डायरेक्ट टीम में, ठीक है. Not me, some other northeastern girl guy who looked more like who had more northeastern features than I did. तो और प्लस वो obviously कि चिंकी बुलाना उसको कि so now all these things are okay when you confirm with that person कि भाई हम लोग ये बोलेगा और we joke about this and we don't really mean it. Now this happened only in like college, where I had friends who used to repeatedly crack such jokes, but they cleared it out with me कि bro, we crack such jokes and you're okay with it, right? So then I was okay with it. But also there was another entire segment of people who didn't even attempt to clear it out with me, who, let's say, so we used to live in a boys hostel. Okay, we still do actually. Now lockdown ke liye we don't. Now in the boys hostel where I'm 12 o'clock at night, I'm going randomly, aadhe neend mein I'm peeing. And this guy, this Rajasthan, guy, North Indian guy comes and randomly cracks this stupid joke about some chow-mein or some ऐसे, मतलब 12:30 बजे भी तुम शुरू हो गया ये. Now after a while, what do? I just like don't know how to react to it, and what do? So I just shut up, and then because of that I start keeping to myself.
Yeah, Joyjeev, was that so? What you spoke about, was that any, like you mentioned about that guy in UP when you were having a nice 12:30 mein Mutra Visarjan, the guy comes and annoys you. So did you ever feel like just going and smashing somebody's head, like being violent? Like I know, मतलब क्योंकि तुम लड़ाका तो था, तुम तो बहुत violent था, patience तो था ही नहीं तेरे में. So was it never a point where you felt like taking somebody's hand and smashing it against a wall? Because I wanted to literally punch some of you also at a point of time. I think I even slapped Jeremiah once, you remember? Back in school, he was not Jeremiah, there's somebody I slapped also because they were just not stopping. Never felt like being violent ऐसे.
मेरा ये I never felt, मतलब I was never violent with regard to this respect, because I knew it comes from a place of not understanding, and it's ignorance. From some place of ignorance is where they come from. So because they don't know that how I'm feeling about it, or because they're not aware कि there are so many different cultures, and I also could not fight back and say कि no bro ऐसा नहीं है, Assamese culture ये है. And also so I had that under problem, so I could explain it to them that clearly. So I thought that let it be, let it go, let it pass. We'll be quiet, and most likely the problem will go away also.
So did it? But it's not, no, that's the point. It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there and it didn't go away.
To talk about that, my question is, does that not apply to all stereotypes?
So you mean like there are general solutions?
What I'm trying to say is it depends on how you take it and what is close to your heart.
Yeah.
So now see, for you, your religion was more close. For Joyjeev, it was his body that was more close. Right. It's just more about perspective. It's about what you let affect you and what doesn't affect you. I feel because it's true. It in a big portion, because of course we've not faced the same adversity that you have, but I feel that like yours is a different case, yes, but we were not affected maybe because we didn't have that same kind of thing, but it's a stereotype that everybody, like if that applies to everybody in some kind of way.
That's the point I think we're trying to make here.
The extent to which it is done to somebody is different, and I agree to it, and to you definitely more than us, I feel. Personal opinion.
You कौन है? Joyjeev की मैं बोलना एक बार नाम लेना. Branding भी होगा personal branding.
I feel Ishmeet has faced more adversity and more pain in such situations, and people have made fun of him more. And he has also been affected more as a result.
समझ गया भाई.
But for us, it was not the same. But I feel it's just stereotype.
Yeah, but the immediate response is to just say that, bro, why you being an ass? Why you being so politically correct, or you're being too sensitive about it? Like, grow a spine. This is how we talk. Okay, ऐसे बात तुम ज़्यादा seriously ले रहा है. So what do you say to that?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking Ishmeet.
Okay.
So after that, I am like कि अब मैं क्या कोई मेरे को बोल रहा है कि grow a spine. I'm like, bro, I've grown a spine. I've been hearing this since like both of us were children. But the point is, रुक जा भाई, समझ कि हम अभी सब बड़े हो रहे हैं. It's actually having a different kind of a toll. But again, nobody's going to be willing to listen to this kind of an explanation. I'm just like, bro, just stop it. यार बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं हो गया. I start suddenly becoming angry. And then it just happens कि चलो Ishmeet अब गुस्सा और अब छोड़ दो. I think that has been the reaction. That is what's happening right now. But ये उस तरफ से आना चाहिए, बोलना ही नहीं चाहिए. That's what we need to put out into the limelight now. How to identify and how to not do it. Because I'm sure, guys, even I have personally done it. Like I've also told Joyjeev a lot of times, like, भाई तू wheelbarrow race. Remember, Joyjeev, we were very good at it. Joyjeev तू मेरे को आराम से उठा लेगा. So मतलब ये body shaming नहीं हुआ, but एक तरीके से I was also saying कि तू मोटा चौड़ा है, थोड़ा फास्ट भी तू मेरे को आराम से उठा लेगा. But तरीका होता है बोलने का, तहजीब, nice word, तहजीब होनी चाहिए इसे बोलने की. I think we'll come to that right.
तुम पूरा दिन अपने आप को ही validation देता है ना.
भाई क्या तहजीब is a beautiful word, bro. Come on.
I think this entire concept of a Japanese, an Englishman, and a German went into a bar, that should only be removed. That entire joke ka concept, because a Sikh comes in the middle somewhere in that kind of joke, or a Gujarati comes in the middle in that kind of joke, and that is why people have negative connotations and negative stereotypes.
No, I don't think that's a little too far. Like there are certain aspects where all these jokes also help, where they bring people closer together and they make the other more understandable. Like there are certain inherent traits about Assamese people that Assamese people themselves accept, and it's okay.
दोपहर को सोएगा.
हाँ, दोपहर को सोएगा.
Fun of yourself. You making fun of yourself is very different from somebody else making fun of that.
No. You're saying that if you crack a joke about stereotypes and you say anything about Japanese, Englishman, and this thing went to a bar, and you crack a joke on the basis, the punchline being on a stereotype, you're saying that should be removed, right? I'm saying that's not the case always. Because
no, I do agree it's not always. Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, because sometimes those stereotypes help in breaking boundaries rather than creating boundaries. Because if someone cracks a joke about Assamese people that even I find funny, and which is generally accepted as funny by Assamese people, it brings the two communities closer.
Yes.
But does it depend on who cracks the joke?
No, it does not depend on who cracks the joke. It depends on the equation that the two people share.
Fair enough.
That if they are okay with that joke or not, and how sensitive is that joke. Now, right now, if I'm cracking a Santa Banta joke with Ishmeet, then I would know that he's.
अब तो मेरे को थोड़ा सोचना पड़ेगा.
Yeah, good. One is that you should at least think.
जरूरी है.
Yeah, वो जरूरी है सोचना. And two is that if he also finds it funny or not, and it's just not us laughing at him, but it's us laughing at that joke together.
Good.
I agree. I just have one retaliation, not to that point, but to this topic in general.
Retaliate करेगा तुमको हम.
I'm sorry, bro. This is a discussion.
तुम fear से मारेगा हमको.
अरे. So isn't it very difficult for young people to understand this? Like if you're 14, 15, do you understand it? Do you understand the concept of it?
Coming to that point which I started off with, if your people, it starts at home. If your nana did not do that, you would have been more sensitive about it. If your nana told you कि do not crack jokes like this, it
यार
can be
अब
offensive,
तो मेरा
you are
थोड़ा
not. अरे मेरे
तो थोड़ा
नाना मेरी
पर्सनल हो
जान
गया.
है.
बाउंड्रीज ब्रो, बाउंड्रीज.
तेरे नाना मेरी जान है, मेरी जान. I love your nana for sure. Even though I've never met him. बॉम्बे वाले है ना ये?
हाँ हाँ.
हाँ तो ठीक है. The point is, so imagine if
LA
your
वाले होते
parents,
तो तू क्या करता?
अरे हमको ये वाले याद है ना, तुम मेरे को बताया भी था इनके बारे में. The point I'm trying to make here is like your parents, if they told you from before and you have a vibrant group, like all 6 of us, I said the number correctly, are belong to different faiths and cultures, which is one of the most vibrant and lovely things about our personal friend group. And if our parents say ki see everybody belongs to a different community, do not attack the community, crack jokes amongst yourselves about things that you all do, like Rahul said. These things are you're going to remember, otherwise relationships turn sour. My dad's has, after the 1984 incident, my dad had a few best friends, and after what had happened, some of his best friends started boycotting him. Like he like tu to maar dega or something like that. So, and he's like, Ishmeet, I had some amazing friendships, and now I don't even talk to them. So when your humor is based on people's faiths, it's not gonna last. The humor should be based on your actions, on your thoughts about all these things in general. And I think that is what should be taught upon by the elders in our respective family as well.
I think very well put. Very well put.
My entire family's been through this. Yeah, 1984 का हुआ था. My grandmoms told me about incidents when they traveled from Peshawar to Ludhiana, and they तुम लोग तो पाकिस्तानी है, क्या है यहाँ पर क्या कर रहा है. I've heard all these things from कब बात है ये, तो तुम सोचो कि मेरे दिमाग में यही drilled है.
One thing that Ishmeet says that the nana, nani, they have to be more careful in the advice that they give. I also think that a certain sense of personal thinking is also involved, where someone randomly, right now we're consuming content that is very easy to consume, and whatever said, we just believe. So I'm just telling you, when someone gives you any sort of advice regard to whatever and tells you a certain thing, before accepting it outrightly, think it for yourself. Even this podcast, for that matter, think it for yourself. Think if it works or doesn't work for you, and accordingly apply or not apply. Be mindful about what you're doing yourself.
Beautiful.
Ishmeet, bring it home.
Again, that's a very nice point. So this one point which I told you I'll be talking about. There's this friend of ours in our extended group. He's a Muslim, right? So everybody cracks a lot of jokes on him, bomb, terrorist, and all these things. No, he's the chillest person. He does not care at all. He's like, "Bhai, karo, meko farak nahi padta." Point is, so I was with him in school. In school, even I used to be the one cracking jokes, but in college when I realized ki even in college when I was facing all these things with the people I just met from the second, even they started cracking jokes, and I was like, okay, ye nahi ruk raha hai. And if I want to set an example, even I need to stop doing it. So I made it a very conscious point to not crack jokes on my Muslim friend, even though I knew Joyjeev said ki he's cool with it. He's told me ko nahi farak padta karo. I became I used to be very limited in all these things. I used to take, bhai, main ek bol raha hu, problem to nahi hoga tere ko. And more often than not, I used to just tell it to him and not in a group. So if you guys, if from the victim perspective, if you guys are also facing it, make sure you're not hypocritical about it. Do not engage in it yourself, and that's how it's going to become better. Why I'm saying this, मेरा डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म हो गया था कि अगर मेरे को फॉर इन दिस केस जॉर्जी मेरे को कुछ बोल रहा है, गियर बॉक्स बुला रहा है, ये बुला रहा है, वो बुला रहा है, मैं जॉर्जी को चिंकी बोलूंगा. दैट बिकेम माय डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म. दैट डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म कम्स इन बिकॉज यू सडनली बिकम वेरी अग्रेसिव एंड इनसिक्योर. Do not practice it. Practice what if you don't like it, don't exhibit it. Be more mindful of each other. And guys, in today's day and age, on a more conclusive note, in today's day and age when there's so much of talk about mental health, so much, and it's finally coming to light, be more mindful and be more empathetic and loving towards each other. Crack jokes on what Rahul's shitty decision making with takes Joyjeev and I 2-3 hours to solve. Joyjeev अतरंगी arrogance में घूमता रहता है. Crack jokes about all these things. मेरे बारे कुछ मत बोलना, ठीक है ना? Crack jokes and all these things, but not about where somebody belongs or what they truly believe in. And I think that way, friendships, relationships, everything is going to last for a very long time. And it's
क्या बात.
What a way to cut him off.
क्या बात. शुरू हो जाए, अभी आउटरो शुरू हो जाए, हम आउटरो शुरू कर देंगे यहाँ से, और Rahul will conclude like he did in our last overrated underrated podcast.
You know that is 2 episodes ago.
I don't care. In the previous episode, he did it, and we would like Rahul to conclude again.
Thank you guys. Thank you for listening in. This is Three Friends and a Tippany, and we will be back next week.
ऐसे तो मत किया कर यार, थोड़ा और बोल. बोल लाइक, फॉलो, शेयर, सब्सक्राइब, कुछ बोल. अभी पॉडकास्ट का पेज बन रहा है राहुल, कुछ बोल. वो बोल ना. Take again, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Guys, thank you for listening in. This is Three Friends and a Tippany. Please like us, subscribe to us, send us an email. We will reply within 24 hours. We promise. See you. Good night. Tata. See you.
Alright guys, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
For this episode. Khuda Hafiz.